Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to have you join us tonight so you can hear my sweet friend that I have had the privilege of knowing. I'm sorry, I'm letting people in as we speak. That we've known each other for several years. We met on a plane coming back from, I believe it was a leaders retreat, instantly connected her and her sister-in-law. And we have stayed in contact and been buddies since. And I have just valued her opinion as a sideline, but also someone who is in the medical field and really works with this, with gut health overall all the time. And my sweet friend's name is Michelle Tholen, and she's here to tell us about her story, but also kind of talk to us about why we might need supplementation during this time of our lives and how we might be able to approach doctors about this, kind of thing. And just overall, I know that she is going to bless us like crazy with the information she's about to provide. So I'm going to let her take it away. Okay.
All right. Hi, guys. So I am so excited to share with you my journey and kind of my background with nursing. Like she says, my name's Michelle Tholen. I am a nurse practitioner. My specialization is mental health, but I've been a registered nurse since 2011. I'm losing track of time for so long. And so I started my journey back in 2015. So I've been on the products for a long time. However, with supplements, I had zero education other than I really viewed supplements as snake oil. Like really, like you just kind of rolled your eyes when like, oh, this patient's on X, Y, and Z supplements. Okay, like have fun with your snake oil. That's not doing anything. So that was kind of the model that we're taught in nursing school, and same with nurse practitioner school. There was zero education, really nothing when it comes to supplements. So that's first and foremost what I want to kind of get out there. The model is very different. It's not looking at root healing. It's looking at treating the symptoms, okay, with the medication. That's the big thing with the medical model. And it's not like your functional medicine, where it's like the root healing, or really what we pride ourselves on in Plexus is really addressing the root cause. Like, what is this? And so for me, when I saw like Plexus kind of popping around my Facebook, I really thought it was just weight loss. But I went to support a friend, to learn more. I was open to it. And I had struggled with significant anxiety since I was little. And, mental health's not really taught when we're young. We don't know why we have butterflies in our stomach. We don't know why our minds are racing, why we have knots in our stomach. For those of you that deal with anxiety, I had no idea. I just knew that I'd always struggled with this. When I was 17 years old, this will all kind of tie in, is kind of why I'm sharing this in pieces. When I was 17 years old, so I had the anxiety piece since I was little. When I was 17, I was prescribed birth control. And I've been able to kind of pinpoint things into significant stomach issues after birth control. But I just thought it was normal to go to the bathroom once a week. For me, it was like once or twice every 2 weeks when I traveled. It was very normal for me to go 14 days, maybe one time. So I was bloated and I was pretty mindful with my eating. I've always been kind of fixated during that time on the scale, watching the number. And so I was mindful with what I was consuming to some degree and always wondered, why do I feel the way I do? And I went to multiple doctors in college for my stomach issues. And they're like, just increase your fiber. We might have to do a colonoscopy. Here's a medication if you need it. Not one time was the birth control ever pieced together for anything. And then when I moved to Virginia, I noticed that my anxiety was getting 100 times worse. And I was running during this time. I was doing exercise and I was more strict with my diet. In my mind, I thought I was mindful eating, but I wasn't like really excessively eating fast food or anything like that. My anxiety just skyrocketed and I couldn't pinpoint what was causing it, because I was like, I had my dream job. I had a good group of friends. And just things in my life were going really well. And I was miserable from on the inside. So went to a doctor. She spent probably 5 minutes with me. She said, I'm going to give you Zoloft, which is an antidepressant. And I'm going to give you Klonopin, which is a benzodiazepine, can be extremely habit forming. Like in psychiatry, we really do not prescribe it. The practice I personally work for, we do not prescribe it. If someone comes to us on it, we need a goal to taper off. So it's kind of mind blowing that right out of the gate, this primary care provider prescribed this without knowing any of my history. And I thought, well, this just must be what I'm going to have to accept. And I like was crying in my car and I was like, I'm doing all the things I don't understand. I just want to know what's causing it. But I decided I wasn't going to continue with the medications. I really wanted to focus on root healing, whatever that may look like. I was internally more natural minded, just because I saw firsthand my mom struggle with major depression for a majority of my life. And so I didn't really have a ton of faith with antidepressants because she was on them and still staying at home, not being able to get out of bed. And that was a lot for me to witness. And so for me, I was like, I'm going to try to figure this out on my own. I also had high cholesterol. I was in my 20s, had high cholesterol. I was averaging $300 a month on gas station stops because I was like loving diet soda. So in my mind, guys, I was like, I'm like really healthy. I'm having my diet cherry Coke. It's 0 calories. And then I'm getting my large coffee with, sugar-free stuff. Like it really wasn't healthy when I look at it, but I was averaging $300 a month because I was like so addicted to sugar and all the things. Same with Twizzlers. I'm like, zero fat, healthy. No, it's not. So at that point in time, I moved back to Kansas, and that's when I saw Plexus kind of popping around. And so I was like, do you think this could help me? And they're like, absolutely. So I started on Triplex. So that's like our gut health combo. This is what I've been on since 2015. And so I started on this gut health combo, and you guys, within a matter of 30 days, I was regular. I was waking up before my alarm clock. I could barely stomach the taste of Diet Cherry Coke. I was craving water. And then within 90 days, my anxiety was like completely gone. For me, it felt like an elephant was on my chest at nighttime. That is the way I would describe it. I couldn't shut my mind off. My mind would race. I just felt miserable on the inside. And so in 90 days, I remember just sitting there. I was like, I don't know when the last time is that I've felt that heaviness on my chest. And so at that point in time, I started like really digging into the ingredients. I was like, okay, if I'm a nurse and I have zero clue about gut health and supplements, and I've been taught that it's like pretty much snake oil, what's in these products and people need to know about it. So I started like deep diving on gut health and learning all the things. And for me, it was just like, if I don't know this and I'm in healthcare, then no one knows this, and really in 2015, it wasn't really talked about. Gut health was not really a thing like it is now. Like I think more research is being done, thank goodness. But during that time, it wasn't. And so what really blew my mind, and this is kind of what I want to share with you. And so for my nurse practitioner degree, my last semester, my project, I did it over gut health because I knew providers going out in the real world would not have this education. So for me as a provider in mental health, the biggest thing was over 90% of our serotonin is produced in our gut. And over 70% of our immune system also in our gut. There are so many things that disrupt our gut health. And so that is why this combo is so huge, because the pink drink, and for me, I was like, it's just for weight loss, but Slim is so much more than that. For me, it got my cholesterol within normal limits. I had my blood levels done in 6 months. My cholesterols were within normal limits, so much so the nurse was like, I don't know what you've been doing, but I haven't seen a level this good all day. The only thing that I had changed was adding triplex into my routine. And so when I started diving in, so the Slim really balances everything out. I wish the name Slim was the body balancer. For me, it tackled the inflammation. It balanced my hormones. My mood was up and down a lot, but that can tie into your blood sugar levels, right? And think about those 2 p.m. crashes. All of that plays a part. Okay. When that's not regulated, our mood tends to go up and down, regardless if we're diabetic or not. There's so many things that play a part with those crashes. That's what I love so much about Slim is it's balancing everything out. So it's balancing our mood, it's balancing our blood sugar levels, which in return helps us with our sleep and how we feel overall. And so for me, Slim is like your jack of all trades type of drink. I love that you can drink it anytime during the day. Sometimes I'll drink it right before bed. I feel like it helps me with my sleep. And I specifically have type 1 and type 2 diabetics on Slim, and their hemoglobin A1C. So this is what tracks the last 90 days on average of what their blood sugar levels are. Usually that level will drop and you want it like usually around the 5 range. And with consistency of Slim, they've been able, with their doctor's help, to not need as much insulin if they're type 1. Obviously, you're always going to need medicine. Type 2, they've been able to cut back or get off with their doctor's help with their medication. You guys, that's really huge. Same with my pregnant mamas that are on it. They have usually, like my sister-in-law specifically, had great pregnancies. It was approved by her OBGYN. She had struggled with migraine. She had struggled with cramps. She usually struggled with constipation. You can. This helped her on so many areas. And she said, compared to her previous pregnancies, she bounced back a lot faster. So that's what I love about Slim. And I just wish the name was different. The other 2 products in Triplex is BioCleanse and ProBio5. People tend to cringe, specifically if you have irritable bowel symptoms. People cringe and think, oh my gosh, I'm going to be in the bathroom all the time. That's not the case. You guys, I just looked up this stat, and on average, Americans, 75% are deficient in magnesium. Magnesium is a huge ingredient that's in BioCleanse and also vitamin C. And I will say a majority of the people I've been seeing have been sick. And so it's going to help with your immune system. It's going to help flush those toxins out. It helps to oxygenate your cells. It's just an amazing product. And one of the things that I want to share, so I wrote this down somewhere, with like the deficiencies of magnesium. So oftentimes you'll see elevated blood pressure. People struggle with high blood pressure that are deficient, constipation, migraines, having significant cravings like for sugar or dark chocolate. That's all tied in to deficiency in magnesium. So that's why BioCleanse is so huge. The other thing is ProBio5. If I honestly, as a nurse practitioner, could recommend one product, it would be ProBio5. Because I think that in a nutshell does so much good for the body. So the biggest thing is the candida yeast that is able to tackle. And when I say, like, I'll educate people on your typical probiotic that you get from GNC or Walmart, or really any drugstore, they're not going to have the antifungal ingredients in it. So chitosanase, serrapeptase, those are 2 ingredients that are huge in ProBio5. And I always say, like, if people ever come to you and they're like, oh, I eat really healthy, I'm good, I go to the bathroom every day, I always say, have you ever been stressed? Do you ever take any over-the-counter medications? Do you eat clean 100% of the time? Are you on birth control? Just the air we breathe, all of those things can impact our gut health significantly. The other thing is, that I want to share that I've always found really fascinating is candida yeast. We're all born with a little bit in our gut health. That's what helps our bodies decompose when we're no longer living. Okay. So think about this. If that's what helps our bodies decompose, would we really want an overgrowth of it? What do you think happens? So with everything that I just said, like your antibiotics, over-the-counter medications, prescription medications, stress, all of that feeds. That's what the bad bacteria loves. The average American has 85% bad bacteria. Okay. So what happens is this overgrowth just takes off. It's feeding off of everything. And with that, this overgrowth then triggers inflammation. Okay. The inflammation is what then triggers other issues. Have you ever wondered why you can't lose weight? Why you have these health issues? That didn't happen overnight, but what is causing it? Usually something is off on the inside. And typically it all stems back to that gut health. So that's why it's like just the slow process of the healing, and why sometimes when we start triplex, it can be really unpleasant because it's removing this overgrowth of bad bacteria, which is what like when it's removing the overgrowth, it releases toxins into the bloodstream. Okay. So that's why we're not feeling that great. And that's why BioCleanse is huge. And I'm sorry for my team that's on this call because they've heard this analogy so many times. But this is one of my favorite analogies about BioCleanse and ProBio 5. If you ever get asked, why do I need both? Here's the reason why. Think about it this way. So think about Jody. Jody's like had a huge party. She's like eating some donuts, like things that she doesn't do. So she's just partying all day. Her bad bacteria is like, heck yeah. It's like overgrowing like crazy. So when she lays down at night, okay, her ProBio 5 comes in, and I always say it's like working the night shift at Walmart. Okay, so it's coming and it's like, wow, Jody really just went wild today. We have so much cleanup to do. So it's cleaning up and it's removing like all the trash, okay, as you're resting, and it's restocking the shelves for the next day. So it's replenishing that gut health with the good bacteria that you need. Okay. So BioCleanse is coming in for the day shift. And it's like, whoa, we have a lot of trash to take out to the dumpster. And so BioCleanse is then taking out all the work that ProBio 5 has done, and it's getting rid of the trash and taking it to the dumpster. Okay. So that's why those two are really big and go hand in hand. So that is my favorite combo and my analogy. I always use it because it makes so much sense in my mind. And I always say BioCleanse is such a gentle cleanse. It's like a gentle shower of your gut health. And that is so important. The other thing I really want to share that I educate on a lot is with the clients I see, I educate my own customers because I think it's really important. So I had been on birth control most of my life, from 17 to 32. I had lumps in my breast from the birth control. My gut health was still a little wrecked, even on the products, and I didn't know my gut health could improve. And I'm not saying if you are watching this and you're on birth control to get off. I'm providing this education because I was never educated by a doctor until I did my own research. So I decided when I was 32 that I was going to get off. I had like melasma, I had spots on my face. It was time to get off of it. Okay. So I got off of it and I started like digging into research. And so I had no idea common birth control deficiencies are folic acid, vitamin B2, B6, B12, vitamin C and E, minerals, magnesium, selenium, and zinc. No idea. Was never educated. I never supplemented in the 15 years, not even when I was on Plexus. So the other product that's really huge is X Factor Plus. I think everyone should be on it. The other thing I want to share is oftentimes people that have the MTHFR gene mutation, they're not able to absorb their nutrients. So they can't absorb or break down their vitamins, their medication. So oftentimes when we have people that we see that are resistant and not responding to antidepressants, we look a little bit closer. Do they have this gene mutation? Are they not metabolizing? What is going on? When I prescribe methylfolate, it is over $100 to be filled by the pharmacy. Insurance does not cover it. X Factor Plus has ingredients to help you absorb and break down your supplements, your medications. And the price point is amazing. And I looked at X Factor Plus and it has every single ingredient that birth control depletes the body from. The other thing is, I don't know if Tammy's on, but when you're menopausal, you also go through depletions of vitamins and minerals. And that's why people that are on X Factor Plus notice it helping them with their hot flashes, with their symptoms that come along with menopause. It's great for thyroid support. So X Factor Plus, hands down my favorite, right up there with ProBio 5. Those two, like I will not go without. And I will tell you, I've never felt better as I have off birth control. But if you are on birth control or you know someone is on birth control, you should provide this education. Is something I educate all of my clients I see. If they're on birth control or anything, I always say, I'm not saying to not be on it. I'm saying that you need to be aware of these common depletions and what it can do for your gut health, and that your mood is being impacted or you wouldn't be seeing me, right? And so let's add in a probiotic at bedtime, and you need to be on a vitamin with all of this. It has to be there. And so no one, like when I tell my clients that there's over 90% of serotonin that's produced in their gut, they're like eyes like, what? I'm like, yeah, but you need to know this, because if your gut health is impacted, that impacts everything and how we feel. So it's really important to correct the underlying, and that's why Triplex will forever and always be my favorite. The other thing I want to educate that I get a lot is I have to talk to my doctor, right? Before I was a nurse practitioner, I'd get that. Now I can be like, okay, like talk to me. So when patients say like, I need to talk to my doctor, I need to show them, I will forewarn you that oftentimes doctors have zero education, if any, on supplements. Like honestly, the person that's sharing the products with you probably have more knowledge than your doctor, and that is the truth. Some do. I mean, it's a rare occasion that your doctor will have the education base. Some do, and they're open to it. So if you ever have like a customer or potential that's like, I want to take this to my doctor, do not tell them to say like, hey, can I take this Slim? Can I take this Slim? You have usually like I'll provide a list to them. I send it to them. I said, you take this to your doctor and you say, are any of these vitamins or nutrients, will any of these affect my health issues, the medications I'm currently on? That is how you address it. Okay. You'd never take the products in. I always will type it out in an ingredient list or send the ingredient labels and say, just have them review the ingredients, and have them just ask like, hey, will any of these ingredients interact with my medications? Okay. So that's the one thing that I always say. Now, I did have a pregnant woman, significant stomach issues, and she was pregnant, had amazing results. Okay. She was on Slim, Vital Biome, and X Factor Plus, amazing results. And she's like, hey, I'm pregnant. I'm going to talk to my doctor about continuing. And it was a resident that she saw. And the resident's like, oh, no, it's not FDA approved. And I was like, okay, so can you go back to the resident and ask them if they want you to take a prenatal vitamin? I was like, your doctor wants you to take a prenatal vitamin, correct? She's like, well, yeah. I was like, that's not FDA approved. Can you tell them that? So this is oftentimes when I say that the education is usually not there like it should be. No supplements are FDA approved. The thing that's really amazing about Plexus is we follow FDA guidelines by choice. By choice. The fact that we ship to other countries too, it's even more strict. So if the FDA thing gets kind of tossed around or addressed, I always say, yeah, like the really amazing thing is we do follow FDA guidelines by choice. We do ship to other countries. So what we have to follow is just very strict. The other thing is like, if you've ever purchased supplements like your fish oil or anything from GNC or Walmart, none of those are either. And the fact that we have clinical studies to back some of our products is really incredible, because a lot of supplements don't. I'm trying to think of anything else I had to share. That's the biggest thing for me, and really what I provide so much education on. And I do plan in a year to go and get more of my certifications for the holistic side, because the other thing that I'll add, and then Jody, if you want to ask me any questions, that's fine. But a lot of antidepressants, antipsychotics, mood stabilizers, and I'm sure other medications, I'm just speaking specifically for medications in psychiatry, they deplete the body of vital nutrients. Okay. And so it's something that I want to know more as a provider. I educate on a daily basis because I think it's important. It's the multiple tools, right? It's like your exercise, your supplements, your medications, your water intake. It's multiple moving pieces that have to come together. And So I plan in time to like really get that certification so I can provide that proper education of like, hey, we're prescribing Zoloft just so these are the common deficiencies. Hey, we're prescribing you Abilify. These are the common deficiencies. So I think just knowing and asking those questions, being your advocate, if you are going to the doctor, doctors are very knowledgeable, yes, but they do not know everything. And a lot of times, us as patients, we have to go on the outside and look up information and do our own research. And that's what I've done over the years. Yeah. So that's pretty much, I don't know if I'm missing anything or if you wanted me to share anything else, but that's kind of in a nutshell what I have.
That was incredible. That was incredible. I am recording, and would it be better for me to stop the recording for questions, you think, or to keep it going? What would be better for that for you?
I'm open.
Okay, let's go ahead and we'll keep it open for a little bit. I mean, I have, she's answered so many questions that I know that I've had in the past, but I would love for anybody, if you're not on and you can't show your face, you could type it in the chat and we could ask it that way. But if anybody has questions, I would love for you to unmute yourself and ask at this time.
Mm-hmm. And then also feel free to like find me. It's just Michelle Tholen on Facebook. I'm more than happy to connect with you guys. Like if you have more personal questions you want to ask, I'm always like wide open and everything. So just always know that I don't mind. Please friend me and ask me all the questions, but I appreciate you guys for hopping on. And yeah, I know sometimes we just don't know what questions.
And everybody's like, wow, this makes, yes, a great information. I mean, everybody, excellent information. I know that this is such a big deal to have somebody in, the people that are in our medical communities sharing and what they think about it. It gives such validation to things too, and just hearing that, what kind of things should we say to the doctors? Look at the ingredients. Those kinds of things are so key, rather than just saying, can I take the pink drink? Because they don't know,
Yeah, and it's really a liability too. Like, right? Like, because they're like kind of backing, it's a really fine line.
Right.
And so that's why if you have an ingredient list and just have them review it, they're not condoning or backing that specific product. They're just saying yes. And if they're saying things that they're like, well, there's no studies, there are studies to back every single one of those ingredients.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree.
And that is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started diving in and looking up every single ingredient that I was like, I have to share. I have to get this information out there. People don't know about it and stuff. And you guys, like, for you guys to maybe not know some of these things, like when I presented this project, and I maybe should show this sometime. So the project I did was specifically going over gut health and mental health. Mm-hmm. And when I shared all this information to my classmates, because my biggest thing was I want them as providers to have an understanding how much gut health can play a part in our mood. And none of my classmates knew. And we were getting ready to graduate in a month. And it had not been talked about until I presented it as a project.
That's, I hate to say sad, but it's like, I just don't want people to feel like they can't be an advocate for themselves. Mm-hmm. I mean, I did run into that personally, where I had a doctor just say, no, it didn't want me to look at it because but the truth of the matter is, like she was saying, is they just aren't educated in it.
Mm-hmm. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm never talking down to doctors.
No, right.
We're just not taught. We just are not taught. And so how do we know unless we go off the beaten path and do our own research? And thankfully, there's truly more research and incredible research coming out about gut health, specifically like probiotic specific strains helping with, there's great studies and research coming out specifically about depression, specifically about anxiety. And it made so much sense in my mind why my anxiety was relieved. Because you guys, I was pooping once a week. Before I felt terrible.
No, like, it's true.
So it made a lot of sense to me. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to put anyone on a spot here, but if if you do not have questions, I always, Michelle, I have Michelle's info and she's given permission for questions. So if you guys outside of this want to reach out to her, I know she has been, like I said, such a valuable resource for me throughout my Plexus journey. And I think we've known each other about 6-7 years. So
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful for her. And I'm so proud of her for continuing on with her education and becoming a nurse practitioner and doing these things and, still sharing her love for gut health. That's just so important to me too, that, I just am proud of her. So I appreciate everyone that's gotten on tonight. I'm reading everyone saying, thank you, love this. So I'm just we'll close this up so we don't have, open space like this. And I'm assuming somebody's going to unmute if they want to. So, all right, we'll go ahead and close it up. So Michelle, thank you so much for
You're
joining
so welcome.
tonight.
Thank you guys for hopping on.
I
Friend me,
appreciate
find
it.
me, message me, say hello.
Okay. And I will link that in my thread for them. So
Perfect.
thank you guys.
Perfect.
Have a wonderful Sunday evening and we'll talk to you guys later. All right.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.